Hello, hello. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was working there, but it looks like some people are hopping on and it's working. So I wanted to share something that I am super passionate about. I've never really chatted about this before, and it really changed my life. It changed me as a mom. It really helped us in our marriage. And it also changed my clinical practice as a dietitian, and that's how I first discovered this motivational communication, but actually made the biggest impact, I think, in my marriage and motherhood. So I also wanted to make this chat. Hi guys, thanks for joining. I wanted to make it a little bit of a fundraiser. So I'm not sure if you know, but my son has a cleft lip and palate, and I'm so grateful that we had all the resources to get him the surgeries and all of the medical needs for him, but lots of people around the world don't have access to that. And so Operation Smile is a charity that they have doctors and nurses that go and they help families that need these surgeries and medical assistance where they can't afford it or they don't have access to it. So any of the money through any of the super chats raised today, I'm going to donate to Operation Smile. So I first learned about motivational communication through Dr. Michael Valence from the Behavior Changed Institute, and he came in and did some sessions and training with our group as a dietitian. And it's really based on the fact that everyone wants to be and have their independence. They don't want to be told what to do. So as a toddler, one of the first things that a toddler starts to say is me do, and they really want to do everything themselves and they don't want to be told what to do. And as we grow, this doesn't really change. We don't want to be told what to do or how to do things. So I have an example. So before we lived in this house here, we lived in a condo, and I had 2 iPads stolen out of my car. And so I wanted our parking garage to be safe. And one of the rules was when you drive through the parking garage that you have to stop and wait for it to close all the way behind you before you could drive to your parking stall. And I usually did this, but one day I must have just been late or something like that, and I drove through and I raced around, and one of my neighbors came over and they told me, like, you have to stop and wait. And the next time I drove through, I just drove right through because I was so annoyed at how he told me to do that, even though I wanted to have a safe parking garage. I want to stop and I don't want anyone to break in to our cars. And so that was just an example of how I almost did the opposite because I was told to do something. I have another example of when Grayson was an infant and I was just exhausted. Like those the early postpartum days are really exhausting. And I was on maternity leave, Jeff was working. And so I told him that I needed him to, because he stayed up later than I do, I needed him to take Grayson from 9 until 12 so that I could get some sleep and then I could do the rest of the night. And so Jeff did take him from 9 until 12 and he bounced him to sleep in his rocker. And then of course, then he was up again late in the night. So with motivational communication, the difference is instead of telling someone what to do or even asking, sometimes you can tell someone what to do, but in the form of a question where you're still really telling them what to do, that's not it. It's really, it's sort of serving the problem and then asking for them to collaborate on a solution with you. So the problem wasn't that I needed help from 9 until 12. The problem was that I was an exhausted new mom and I needed more sleep in general. And so I think it was really different when I was able to approach it and say, like, I'm super exhausted, this isn't working, like, what can how can I get some more rest so that I can be functioning? And that sort of respects their intelligence and you can come up with a solution together to get more sleep. So I think in a clinical practice, so where I first started practicing this was a dietitian, and dietitians get a really bad rap for, so before I had this education, patients would come in and one of the things that we were taught to do is we would look at their meal plan and we would be like circling all the things that were unhealthy and then put together a rigid meal plan for them. And that wasn't very successful. I think when I started using motivational communication is when I really started seeing success with clients, and it was a much more collaborative approach where I was working in a bariatric clinic, so usually their goals were weight loss or better blood sugar control. And so they were coming in, I was asking them the problem, asking them what they've tried before, what they were excited to try, what they thought would help, and then we could come up with a collaborative plan together. And I think it really just changed the respect and the interaction and made it work much better for both parties. And so I think that like with kids, it's a little bit harder, but even like another example with toddlers, if you're talking to them and you tell them like, okay, now it's time to brush your teeth, and they don't want to brush their teeth. And so how can you like give them two options, make it into a game? And I really never try to tell people what to say at all. So I think as a dietitian, a lot of people are surprised that I don't actually ever tell someone what to eat at all. You do get sometimes people that they just want to be told what to eat. But in that case, they're going to ask and they're going to say, what do you think I should eat, or what's your opinion? And then that's an opportunity for that. Sometimes I'll run into a situation where you'll talk about the problem and you'll be problem solving with the client, and they will just not have the education, or they just won't have an idea of something that is going to help them be successful. And then the next step is asking them if they would like my opinion. And so I would say, would you like to hear about a study, or would you like my opinion on this? And then they can say yes or no, and I find that they're much more open to a suggestion after that. So I'm gonna have lots of people saying hi guys, it's so fun to hang out. If you guys have any questions, you can put that in. Also, I did open up, I think, Super Chat if anyone wanted to donate to Operation Smile. I'm gonna be donating all of that to Operation Smile. Awesome, are you guys having a good Monday? You guys are so sweet. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions in there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. If you do have any questions, will I save this live? I do have a question from Nika. Yes, I'm gonna save this live and I'll repost it if you wanna come back to it later. Yes, I realize it's not, there's so many different time zones and it could be in the middle of the night right now. Or maybe you just wanna be quiet if you're with your baby or something. Would this work with your toddler? So to a certain extent, it works with toddlers. It's something that I think that I am practicing all the time. It doesn't always work with toddlers, but I do try with toddlers to more like make a game out of it, or like see like I might set a timer for 5 minutes and say like, how fast can you brush your teeth? Or whereas I think sometimes using the motivational communication with that young, like they don't want to be told what to do, but sometimes as a parent, it does kind of go in that direction. You are welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying the workouts. I think, is that Margie? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, I'm so grateful for all of you guys that work out with me. It's really my passion, and it really changed. Like I think one of the reasons I started my channel was because I was so fearful during my first pregnancy. People were telling me so many horror stories about birth, and then I got a doula, and I was already a yoga teacher, but I did my prenatal yoga teacher training, and went on to have a really positive and beautiful birth experience. And I really wanted to share that positivity. And so that's kind of when I started my YouTube channel, and I just feel really grateful to be able to share my passion with you guys. Already saying it's my first pregnancy and I'm addicted to your videos, but the short, I know, right? It is, I find with pregnancy you're more tired, and I do try to add some shorter ones in to make it more manageable. And then after you have your baby, of course, you're really busy. So although I have been meaning to do a couple of longer ones as well, so there's a little bit more variety. Selene, hi, I see you writing there. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I'm gonna try and hop on and do lives a little bit more regularly, so if you guys have questions, you can ask them then. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.